Welcome to IT Handy Guide tutorial. My name is Kevin. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Emmet. Emmet is the IntelliSense for HTML and CSS, but in this video, I will only talk about the HTML. Okay, Emmet is kind of IntelliSense. In the other words, you can say that is a code completion, code assistant, or code hitting. And Emmet has become a native feature in VS Code. Emmet was an extension, so you have to install extension over here and search Emmet. So previously you have to go to here, click the extension, and then you have to search E-M-M-E-T, Emmet. But Emmet is become a native feature. That means it's a built-in feature in Visual Studio because that was so popular. So it became a built-in feature in Visual Studio. You don't have to install extension anymore. Can I see the Emmet? No, you can't download the Emmet anymore. It's a native feature now. Oh, if you go to here, you will see it's built in right into the Visual Studio Code. Yeah. Okay. And Emmet also have a cheat sheet. If you open this link, it will tell you this is a cheat sheet, and it tells you a lot of way to use the Emmet. But I'm not going to go through everything, so I will just talk about there are only some important features. The first one is called a boilerplate. So with the boilerplate, you can just type exclamation mark, then it will generate a basic HTML code from boilerplate. So when you type exclamation mark, you have two options. The second option will generate the document type HTML, but if you use the first one, it will generate the basic HTML code. Okay, so this is the boilerplate. The next one is the basic tag. You can type like div press enter, so it will generate a div, and you can type whatever words straight away over here. IT handy guy is nice, like this. Or you can type h1 press enter. You can type p press enter. It will generate a paragraph. You can type sec, and it will generate a section. Or you can have like bq, it will generate a black quote, and hdr, and generate header, ftr, generate footer. Or you can type sect, it's still a section as well. And next one is you can do the symboling. So what does that mean? Like you can do div plus p plus bq. So it will generate a div, a paragraph, and a black quote, just like this in the same level. So this is the way you use the Emmet. Okay. So next one is this. If you type .class01 by default, it will generate a div with the class is called class01. Okay, so I don't like this way because I like to type more clearly, like div and dot class02. I like to type this way. Okay, and if you want to have a like two class, you can type. You can type like first class is class 03 and second class is class 04. So anything you type behind this dot, it will become a class. So it will become like two class. Alright, what about you want to have an ID? How can you type the ID? Then you can add hash and then your ID, like ID01, and then dot. So here will become a class, and here will become another class, and here is the ID. So it will become a ID01 and class. Okay. All right. So what about so this is a div, right? What about you want to do the h1? Okay, so this is h1, and you can do h1 ID 01. Okay, you can do like this as well. So it will become like class 03, 04, and this is h1 ID. Okay, so you can do h1. What about input? Yes, you can also do the input. See, you can do like input input, but now I need to change my ID. So now it's a ID input ID 01. So look at that. So this one will become the h1, and this one will become the input. And by default, your type is text. Okay, what about the paragraph? So what about you want to type something in between? Like when you type P, it will generate a paragraph. What about you want to type something in between? So like IT handy guy is nice. What about you type this? So it will generate a content in between. Okay, so everything in the big bracket will generate the content in between. Okay, next. All right, so we have this one will generate this, right? Okay, this one will generate this. What about you want to have like let me show you this. This one will generate this. What about you want to have like ID? You can do in this one. So you will have an ID in between. What about you want to have a class? I want to have a class 1 and class 2. So this one, you will have a class 1 and class 2. Okay. What about I want to have a title? Okay. So hash will generate ID, dot will generate class, but I want to have a different attribute that is called title. So I need to use the middle bracket. Okay, medium bracket we're doing this. I want to the attribute is called title and the p title 01. In this case, it will generate a title p title 01. Still have these two class, still have this ID. Okay, what about I want to have a custom attribute? In this case, I need to have like a space and then type a custom attribute. Then it will generate a custom attribute. Okay, over here, this is a custom attribute. So this is the way you generate your attribute. Okay, so you can also change to div if you like. For example, I want to change everything of this to, I want to change one to div text, yeah, and this one is div, and this is the div ID. Okay, this is div ID. Okay, I still have a class. I just type div class, and this is a div class 2. And title, I want to have a div title, and still have a custom attribute. See, what I have done is change the p to the div, and everything else is the same. What will happen is it will generate a div for me. Okay, it's broken now. You can see it's broken. Why? If I type T, it generates the div. Everything else is the same. Okay, if I type E again, see, this is the similar stuff. This is the P and this is the div. That's the different. So basically, the concept is there. If you want to have a custom attribute, you need to have a medium bracket, just like this. If you want to have a second attribute, third attribute, you need to have a space in between, just like this. Let me show you. If you want to have a second attribute, third attribute, you need to have a space in between like this. Then it will generate the stuff you want. Okay, so this is the Emmet. If you type A, it will generate automatic give you this is href, your anchor. And next one, if you want to have a blank, you can type this is a blank. The other thing is, if you type input, by default it will give you the type is text. If you want to do like different stuff like button, then you need to type like semicolon and button like this. Okay, so they have like default value, so you have to notice that. All right, next. You also can do the nesting. Before I do the nesting, I need to talk about the sibling first. So what is a sibling? Sibling means everything is in the same level. So I want to have a one div and then paragraph and black quote. So I type plus in between. So it will generate a div, paragraph, and black quote in the same level because I use a plus. What about if I want to use a nesting? Nesting is like this. Okay, what will happen is it will create a div, and inside of div there's a paragraph. Inside of paragraph there's a BQ. See, yeah, div. This is called nesting, but we normally don't do this way. We normally use the nesting for list. So it's like it's a navigation unordered list, and then list the item. So it will create a navigation unordered list and list the item. What about I want to have something in between, like each list item I want to have it's called item. So it will generate a value in between here. So I can type item 01. It will generate item 01. What about I want to do like simply in between? So it will have an item 01, item 02. Okay, so this is the way I create. So what about I want to have a section? So if you type a section, it will generate a section. If you type a section class, it will have a section class in here. If you want to have a like this mark, you can do that. You can have this mark in between. See? Okay. So you can have this mark in between if you like. So what about inside of the section, I want to have a H1. Okay, so this is H1. But I want to have a class for H1. So this is the H1 class 01. So this is the H1 class 01. Okay, so this is the nesting. So that means inside of the section we have a H1, and the H1 has a H1 class. But the H1 I want to have a content, so I type this, the big bracket that is called H1 content. So now I have a H1 content over here. Okay, I want to type a sibling. Like inside of the section, I have a H1 and a paragraph. So see, inside of the section, I have a H1 and paragraph because I have a sibling. I use a plus. And paragraph have a class is called P class 01. So now I have a class. And paragraph, I need to have a content. So I say P content. So now I have a P content over here. Okay, so this is the way you can like combine everything all together. And this one is a navigation, is a list, and this one is a section. So this is the way you type the nesting code. Okay, what about this? So I want to have a div and also have another div. So it will become a 2 div. But inside of the second div, I want to have a paragraph. Okay, inside of the paragraph, I want to have a span. Right, inside of the span, I want to have an EM. This is how it works. Okay, and also can format the code if I want. Okay, so this is the way I create like second div. I have a inside of a second div I have a paragraph. Inside of a paragraph I have a span. Inside of a span I have an EM. What about I want to have a BQ? So EN and BQ will be in the same level, but I want to make the BQ in the previous level. So I need to have a upper arrow. So I type upper arrow and type BQ again. So now the BQ and the EN is not the same level. BQ will become the previous level of EN. That is called span. Okay. What about I want to have an upper level? What will happen is this. So now EN upper level is called span. Upper level is called P. So BQ has the same level as P because I use upper. Okay, upper. So this is the way you can do in this. Let me show you the different. So first one is the plus, second one is this. Okay, let me show you the different. So BQ, this, and BQ now is a, see, this is the EN, the same level, but now it's become the span level. BQ will in the same level of a span which is the previous level, is the upper level of EM. So now it's an upper level. So BQ will become the upper level of EN. So that is P. Okay, so this is the upper level. The next one is this one. So we talk about nesting simply climb up. Climb up is the upper level. Now I'm going to talk about the grouping. So what you can do is you can group different things. For example, I want to have a main. Okay, inside of the main, I want to have a div. Okay, inside of the div, I want to have another div. Okay, in the other div, I want to have a span, this kind of stuff. Okay, but you will realize it's so unclear. Therefore, I need to do the grouping like this. So that made me so clear now. So when I do the grouping, I can see this is the first div and this is the second div. Okay, this is the first div and this is the second div. And second div, I have this div P span EN and BQ, div P span EN and BQ, and because I use the upper level, so BQ will be the same level of span. What about I want to have a second grouping? Yes, I can do a second grouping. All I have to do is type this, another plus. Okay, another plus, and this is the second grouping. So div first grouping, second grouping are in the same level. So second grouping, I have a section. Inside of a section, I have a H1, P, and BTN. So you will see this div first grouping, second grouping. Okay, inside of the second grouping, I have a H1, P, and button. So this is H1, P, and button. Okay. So I also want to have a BQ. I want to have a BQ and section. So now BQ, section, second grouping, first grouping, div are in the same level. So this is the way you can do a grouping. And grouping will make your Emmet more clear. Okay, the next one is called multi-application. Multi-application is normally used in a list, like we have a UL or LI. Okay, in the previous one, I normally type LI. What will happen is this. Okay, so what I normally do is I have a LI class 01. See, but I have a like this, so that will become this. Okay, but what about if I want to have a second item? I need to use this. And that is waste so much of time if I keep doing like sibling for second LI. Therefore, I need to use the multi-application. So multi-application is like I doing this. I want to have a 3LI. So it will become a 3LI. And with this one, what I can do is to create a second class. Can I use a class? Yes, I can. So I can have a class 01 like this. So now I have a class 01 and times 3. So what about I want to have the item? The item, okay, the content. How can I do the content? So I can do like this content. So now I have a list LI class 01 and item 01. I have a 3 of this content. Okay, because I type 3. So what about I want to use the $sign. Can I use the $sign? What will happen if I use the $sign? Look at this. Now it's item 1, item 1, item 1. This is a class 1, class 1, class 1. What about I want to like item 1, item 2, item 3? How can I do that? So I need to use a $sign over here. So it will become item 1, item 2, item 3. Okay, can I use the $sign in a class? The truth is, yes, you can. You can use the $sign in a class. So that will become this is class 1, this is class 2, this is class 3, and this is item 1, item 2, item 3. Okay, so what about I don't want to start from, at the moment, I start from item 1, I start from class 1. What about I want to start from 11? Can I start from 11? Yes, you can. All you have to do is type at and 11. So it will start from 11. Oh, wait. See? So it will start from item 11, item 12, item 13. What about the class? Can I start from class 11? Yes, I can start from class 11. Just type at 11. So now it's class 11, class 12, class 13, like this. Alright. So this is the Emmet for the multi-application. So what about table? Yes, I can type table equal this, but I can type table tr td. So it will become this. Okay, what about I want to have a class, so I can type tr class 01 and td class 01. So you will have a tr class 01 and td class 01 over here. What about if I didn't type tr, if I didn't type td, what will happen? Haha, that is wrong, because I didn't type the dot over here. I need to type the dot over here. So what will happen is it still create a tr, it still create a td, because it actually by default setting it will recognize this is a tr, this is a td. Okay, so you can type this one or you can type this one, you will have the same result. But which one do I prefer? I actually prefer this one because that makes me more clear what's going on. Okay, so try not to type this because that is not clear at all. Okay, the next one is called table. Okay, so we have a table. Okay, so what about I want to have like 2 TD? Can I do that? Yes, I can do. Then I can have a 2 TD. What about I want to have 3 TR? Yes, but I need to use the grouping. So how can I do the grouping? My suggestion is you need to group this one first. Okay, that make more clear. That there's no difference, right? And then you need to group the second things. So this is second things. And I want to type 3. So that will become like 3 TR. Okay, and 2 TD. So I will have a 3 row, and each row have a 2 TD. Okay, so what will happen is this. I have a 1 TR, second TR, and third TR. So I have a 3 rows, and each row I have a 2 TD. Okay, so this is a TR and TD. So can I use the $sign for TR and TD? Yes, I can. So this is a class. Can I use the $sign? Yes, I can use the $sign. So that will become TD class 1, TD class 2. Okay, can I use the $sign for TR? Yes, I can use the $sign for TR. So now I have a TR class 1, TR class 2, TR class 3, and TD class 1, TD class 2. So I can use the $sign as well if I want. Okay, so this is how you create a table. The next one is the phone. Phone is more complicated. If you type phone, you will doing this. So what about phone? I want to use, okay, by default, if you type phone, the action is empty. What about I want to use the post? So the method will become the post. Okay, so the method will become the post. So what about I want to have a label in a phone? So after doing this, there's a label. So there's a label. So see, phone, and inside of the phone I have a label, and class is class 01. Okay, I want to have more things, like I want to have a name in between. So what will happen is it will become a label, and there's a name in between. So if you see over here, see, I have this. What about if I type, wait, where are you? Oh, over here. Okay. So that becomes a phone. So this is the name. Alright, what about I want to have an input. Can I have an input? Yes, I can. So I will doing this, doing the grouping first, and then I'm going to, in the same level, I want to have an input. So so this is what's going on. Have an input. By default, it will generate input text. Okay. So I want to be more clear. This is the input text. I want to give an ID. ID is name ID. Okay. So please type your name over here. So I need to give an ID for this input. It's called name ID. So in this case, it will generate an input that is the text, and then the name, the ID is called name ID. Okay. And also this input, I want to have a class, that is class 01. And I want to have a BR as well. So that will generate an ID name ID, and class is a class 01 for this input. Okay, and there's a BR in between. So this is the way you create your phone. If you see this, there's not much different. But the truth is, there's a ID and there's a class over here, and then there's a BR in the end. So what about next? I want to have a label. Okay, I want to have a phone and still post, and this one is a label, and I have a class class 01, and I have a the content is called sex. So what will happen is it will generate this. There's a phone and there's a label, and the content of label is called sex. Okay, so what about if I want to have an input? So now it's a little bit strange. Now it's a radio button. Okay, I need to copy this. So there's an input that is a radio button, and this radio button have an ID is called sex ID, and then I have a class is called class 01. The value of this radio button is called male. So it will generate this. See, there's a label and there's a input. Okay, this input is a radio button. This input is a radio button, and the ID is sex ID and class, and this is a male. What will happen is it will generate this. So this is a generate radio button. So what about I want to have a second radio button? What can I do? So I need to add another of these. Okay, and still the sex ID class 01, but this time I need to type female. Okay, so it will generate like this, male and female. Okay, so this is a radio button. So I have a first radio button, and this is the second radio button. In the end, I want to have a BR. So it looks like this. Okay. So I have a BR in the end. What about next one? I still want to have a phone. And inside of this phone, I want to have a label. It's called hubby. It's called hubby. So what's going on is I have a hubby. Okay, so this is a hobby. So what is my hobby? Basketball or soccer. So this is my first. I want to create a drop-down list. Okay, so I need to use a symboling first, and then I need to give a drop down. Drop down is select, and this select I want to use the class 1. So this is a class 1. So inside of the select I want to give an option. So option, I need to call this value is basketball. Okay, so this is the attribute for this option. Alright, I need to give a value, so the value is also called basketball. But I want to type basketball 01 like this. So what will happen is it will generate a phone. Inside of the phone I have a label, is called hobby. Inside of the hobby I have a like drop down. This drop down only have one option, it's called basketball. And I type basketball 01 for content and basketball for class. See? Basketball for the value, basketball for the value and basketball 01 for the content. So you will see this. Okay? So when you see this one, you will see there's a drop down. It's called basketball 01. Alright, change this back. I want to see basketball. So now it is basketball. Oh, still have a 1. Like this. Now it's a real basketball now. Cool. Okay, well, I want to add the soccer. So what should I do? So I need to copy this second option. Okay. I need to copy to another things like plus option. So now it's soccer. SOCCER. So now I have a 2 value. The first one is called basketball, second one is called soccer. Okay, so this is the Emmet. You can just type like this. So what about the submit button? Can I do the submit button? Yes, I can do the submit button. Still, I want to create a phone, and that is a post. Inside of the phone, I want to have a button. So I type input button. Input and button button. So this is what will happen. Let me show you. So there's a button. Okay. So button, I need to give a ID and a class. So this is the ID, and this is the class. So it has a, see, it has a button, and there's an ID, and there's a class. Okay, I need to give a value for this button. So the value is an attribute. So I need to type the medium bracket. Inside of the medium bracket, I need to give a value is called submit, like this. So I type this one. It generate a button. It will say submit. Okay. So this is how it works. So this is the value it will show up in the button. Alright, so this is the way you create a phone. So your phone should look like this. In fact, I have like the first phone, second phone, third phone, and fourth phone. But the truth is, we only have one phone. We only should have one phone. So you need to combine everything all together. So that will become like this. It will become like this. So this is how I combine everything all together. So you will only have one phone. See? So just, you can try to type everything in just the one phone to see what's going on. So this is you should see, okay? And this is the answer, okay? All right, the next one. The next one. Next one is Lauren. Okay, this is the easiest one. Sometimes you want to have a dummy text, so you just need to type Lauren. It will generate a dummy text. Okay, there are too many texts, so I want to type like 5 words, so it will only give me 5 words. Or 20, it will generate 20 dummy words. Okay, so this is a Lauren. Alright, that's all. Did everything. Okay, I hope you enjoy my tutorial. Have a good day.